Should Breeze topic number 2 says simply thoughts. Let's see what it is that we're supposed to have thoughts about. Looks like it's taking us to Twitter. This tweet might have a video. Looks like it's a video. So this is from Gonzalo Lira, who's tweeting this, and he says, interesting video. Did you know these facts? Confirmed by rabbis, as you can see. So there's a video here. Let's start it from the beginning.
And so in effect, what happened in World War I is they fought it through to a stalemate. America enters the scene and decisively on the side of Great Britain and France and decisively wins the war. And then Germany is destroyed and punished for the whole thing. So they were destroyed for being a great country. They were destroyed for challenging the British. Hitler comes in and say it was a miraculous thing.
Last reason I'm going to tell you. Who knows the first 2 laws that Hitler implemented? Hitler, Yimach Shemo v'Zichro, first 2 laws that Hitler implemented that not only put him in a different status than everybody else for the rest of history, but also made what's called until this day the biggest financial miracle in history. Who knows the first 2 laws?
Germany was also open season. It was communists and anarchists fighting. They wanted to do the same thing in Germany that they did in Russia. Russia, for decades, was chaos because anarchists killed the Tsar. They killed Alex III, and then Nicholas II took power. Anarchists were bombing things. There was a communist revolution. They slaughtered the royal family. It was a disaster for years. They became a pariah state. It took them a decade to normalize relations with other countries. And so the communists and the leftists wanted to do the same thing to Germany that they had done to Russia.
למה באמת היטלר ראה נגד היהודים? מה הוא רצה מהם? מה הפריעו לו? אבל הדברים כתובים כאן במיין קאמפף. זה הספר יצא רק לאחרונה, התירו לתרגם מיין קאמפף בעברית, זה היה אסור כל השנים. אבל יש לי תרגום קודם יותר שיד ושם תרגם קטעים, להם היה מותר. היטלר טוען בספר שלו שהיהודים הם קומוניסטים. הם עשו את המהפכה ברוסיה. הם הרגו שם 30 מיליון רוסים, את כל האינטליגנציה, בצורה אכזרית ונוראה. ואת זה הם רוצים לעשות לכל העולם. הארץ הבאה בתור זה גרמניה. הם הקימו את המפלגה הקומוניסטית והסוציאליסטית הגרמנית, וזה נכון. אם אנחנו לא נתגבר עליהם עכשיו, הם יחסלו אותנו, וישחטו גם כאן 20 מיליון איש את כל האינטליגנציה. וככה הם הלכו מארץ לארץ. כשבסופו של דבר האינטליגנטים היחידים, החכמים היחידים, יהיו רק היהודים.
So Hitler comes in, and the country's like a war zone. The currency is worthless. The economy is destroyed. Degeneracy is rampant. There's transgender stuff, licentiousness, prostitution.
There's transgender stuff back then?
Yeah. That's why they were burning books.
Wow.
Those were the books they were burning.
Oh, I didn't. Wow. I'm just shocked there was transgender stuff back then.
Yeah, it's Mansfield or Hirschfield. It had some really innocuous sounding name, but it's this Jewish guy who had this like research center, and they were the pioneers in transgenderism, in early transgender surgeries, homosexuality, all that stuff. Like it was all coming from Berlin. And it was horrible. And Hitler comes in, and that's what the book burnings were about. They were burning all these research books about transgender stuff because it was like morally repugnant. It's the same stuff that's going on today.
Rule number 1, no more pornography, no more homosexuality, none of that garbage, not allowed. Berlin in the 30s, in the 20s, was the Sodom and Gomorrah of the day. They were the Las Vegas of the day. They were the Sodom and Gomorrah of the day. Homosexuality, pornography, all the bestiality, all the garbage of the world, that was the capital of the world. He outlawed it. You're no longer allowed, closed all the bars, all the gay clubs, all the production, which were all run by Jewish people, unfortunately.
You know, everybody says the book burnings, they were burning knowledge. That wasn't knowledge. That was perversion.
Mhm.
That'd be like if they started burning pornography. Nobody would say that burning pornography is some sick, tyrannical, like backwards. They don't want people to be educated. They would say that's filth. Same deal there. So anyway, so he goes in, revives the economy, drives out the communists and anarchists, brings organized crime under control, builds all this infrastructure. It was amazing. He was Times Man of the Year. Now, he was anti-Semitic. We have to recognize, though, one, everyone was anti-Semitic back then. That's just true. Henry Ford, Charles Lindbergh, all the presidents, all the leaders of Europe, you name it. Not only that, but also the Jews were extremely influential and did inflict a lot of those problems. All that transgender stuff was coming from Jewish intellectuals. People blame what's happening in America today on the cultural Marxists. That's real. The cultural Marxists were all Jews that came from Berlin, that were driven out by Hitler.
התמונה של פוליט ביורו הראשון, זה כמו הממשלה ברוסיה. מתוך 13 חברים, 6 יהודים. מי הקים את הקג"ב? לפני כן קראו לו NKWD. יהודים. אם כן הדברים טובים מפורש. הוא לא שנא את היהודים בגלל שיש להם פאות. הוא לא שנא אותם בגלל שהם שומרים מצוות. בגלל שהם קומוניסטים.
So when people look at the legacy of postmodernism, cultural Marxism in America today, it all came from Columbia. It all came from these guys at Columbia who originally came from Frankfurt in Germany, and they got kicked out because they were Jewish communist radicals. So, and anyway, this is not like a defense of everything Hitler ever did, but when you strip away this,
the whole point is that he was a visionary and he did good things too. That's what but nobody's ever heard that in media ever.
את זה הוא כותב כאן, אתם מבינים עכשיו למה לא לומדים את זה בית ספר? כי מי כותב את תוכניות הלימודים? אותם שמאלנים. בוודאי לא יכתבו שהיטלר רצה להרוג את היהודים בגלל שהם אבות השמאל העולמי ואבות המרקסיזם, קומוניזם, לניניזם. אבל את זה הוא כותב. הרסו את כל הערכים, הרעילו את כל הספרות והתיאטרון. מי זה אותם? יהודים שומרי תורה ומצוות הרעילו את התיאטרון הגרמני? מתוך 9 עיתונים גדולים בגרמניה, 7 של יהודים.
So it's crazy to someone who didn't hear your whole explanation.
Right, yeah.
But when you're explaining it, like Blessing, he kind of makes sense. And it's like, but that's crazy because no one's ever heard this stuff before ever. And even when me and Blessing heard it for the first time, we're like, what?
Yeah.
We're just like, I think we did a reaction, but we didn't post it because we were scared. I think we put it on Rumble or I don't know, something.
Second rule. What's the second rule? Second rule was you're not allowed to charge interest. No more interest. Now you would think, why? What does he care about interest? Well, because all the people that had the money, that lent the money out, were Jews. He didn't like it. So he said no more interest. Why? Because of the high interest that the Jews charged people was so high, it ruined, it destroyed the economy in Germany. They destroyed, just like they destroyed Russia a few years before that through their communism over there. Jews destroyed Russia, not Goyim. Jews destroyed. Communism is by Jews. Well, don't let anybody confuse you. You look at history, Karl Marx, all the other Reshaim, they're all Jews. Wicked, but nonetheless Jews. They destroyed Russia, and he wrote in chapter 2 of Mein Kampf, they destroyed Russia, now they're destroying Germany, that's why I have to destroy them. Now, this doesn't make he's right. The point is, that's actually real, true history. Now, he saw that the Jews are controlling the system, and they're charging such high interest, they destroyed the German economy to the extent that by the time you arrived to go to the store to buy bread, you had to take a whole horse carriage full of money. By the time you arrive at the store, it wasn't enough. Why? Because the inflation rate was so high.
Wow. Okay.
The bread became so much more valuable and your money went down. So now he says, what's this the cause of this? Because nobody could afford to do anything because the interest rates are so high. So he decided no more interest rates. You're not allowed to charge interest rates. And at that time, the Great Depression was happening around the entire world. Everyone was in a financial collapse. America was a financial collapse. England was a financial collapse. Everybody else was collapsing. Germany collapsed worse than everybody else. But after he passed this law of no more interest, within 6 years, Germany became the leading, wealthiest economy in the world. They called it a financial miracle. Why? They were the only ones that were bold enough to stop interest. This is one of the biggest reasons of why he hated Jews. Because they destroyed the economy because of their greed. Rabotai, it's not making them right. Don't let this confuse you. But this is happening again.
I think I got red pilled a little bit more this interview.
A little bit, yeah. Well, I'd be the guy to do it. I'm the human red pill.
Yeah, that's a real good video. I think Oni posted that. I like that. There's something in there. Yona B says, wow, not surprised though. But there's something in there that I think anytime I mention it to black folks look at me puzzled. But, the Jews, the small hats, a lot of them were backing Hitler, right? A lot of them were backing Hitler. A lot of them financed those ovens. And people don't understand why. But anyway, I think that video is pretty interesting. Buana, what are your thoughts?
It's a whole lot of shit to unpack here. I probably won't touch everything, but it's a whole lot of stuff to unpack because I think the guy got a whole lot of shit wrong. But I think intentionally so. First of all, I would not blame Hitler I wouldn't blame the Jews for the degeneracy of Germany, considering the fact that these white folks, they have a history. You know what I mean? The Greeks and the Romans, are Germans Greeks and Romans? Maybe not. But Greeks and Romans are notorious for degeneracy. So, I mean, and the Western world has taken up that culture. They've been taking up that culture, the Greeks and Romans. So I mean, the fact that they was engaging in all kind of degeneracy over there, I mean, that was cause for the power because that's their culture. I mean, so I wouldn't necessarily blame the Jews for that. I wouldn't blame them for that.
While that is true, Buana, I will interject and say, and again, I like Bakari who's saying peace and Black Power in the chat right now. I try not to separate these white folks too tough. To me, they're all the same. But I gotta admit, in history, when you study history, like they said in the video, these people were ran out of mostly everywhere they were. And they were ran out of for a lot of the reasons why even the small hat said. These guys are degenerates. They are money hungry, greedy, and all this. And they were ran, even folks with their skin color ran them up out of England and all these places like that because of their behavior. So that's in history. You could look that up yourself, right? So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, another thing that he mentioned is the interest thing. I'm curious about that because within Judaism, the Jews don't believe in charging interest among themselves when they do business. They believe in charging interest and not necessarily dealing fair with what they consider to be goyim, people who are not Jewish. And I think that we should practice a little bit of that, but that's neither here nor there. So that may be another thing when they go into different societies, how they operate financially in terms of doing business with one another and othering people outside of that space, outside of that community, treating them financially or doing business with others differently. Now, whether that's right or wrong, I'll let the audience and I'll let everyone else decide. But I believe in some of that. I believe that we should practice the same kind of politics. but maybe you don't have the same kind of unity. And I could see how they run monopolies and run the board on people, because when you have large swaths of people engaging in different business practices and within the society, you tend to be able to be stronger financially. You know, Chinese do it all the time. Now they do in the Bahamas right now and the Caribbean, but that's neither here nor there. Another thing that he said, and so for Hitler to practice, the same kind of engagement financially without charging interest as the Jews did, that seemed a little bit backwards to me, because you were engaging in the same kind of things what they was doing prior to. You know, it's just that, okay, so maybe that works, so we're gonna practice this internally and for Germany, you know, for the whole of Germany, but we're gonna practice business differently with other parts of the world. I don't know. I don't know. Another thing that he mentioned is accusing the Jews of communism. Now, socialism for me, it's just a one step above communism. Just one step above communism. Hitler's party was called the National Socialist Party, the Nazi Party. So he was a socialist. So I understand his argument with the communists, but I don't know, man. There's so much complexities that goes into these kinds of discussion. When he says his book burning was primarily because of transgenderism, that's not necessarily true. There's more that going into that. When Hitler was, see, the problem here we having right now is the younger people who don't have they don't have a long attention span. They wouldn't watch a history video like me and you would, Coco or Butter Bakari would. They wouldn't necessarily sit down and read Mein Kampf. They get information by 3 second or 30-second sound bites. And sometimes when you engage in these kinds of conversations, they have a whole lot of different kinds of complexities. Hitler's argument and gripe against the Jews is he felt, because I read Mein Kampf, he felt that in World War One, the Jews did something to betray the state of Germany, you know, and that's left out of the discussion when these guys are going back and forth. You know, I don't hear that. But there are some things, I agree, there are some things that Hitler should have done. He should have get rid of the degeneracy. If he felt like it was polluting that society, he should have get rid of that. Even though, you know, Germany today, contemporary Germany, have all kind of degeneracy in it. But he should have gotten rid of that. And there are some things that Hitler did I agree with. Hitler was a vegetarian. You know, he did a whole lot of stuff for his state. Now, if you was to justify it with the death and murder a whole lot of people, it depends on which day you're talking to me with, whether I would agree with that or not. But I think that we on this channel, we need to be careful with these kinds of discussions, because I don't want this program to get banned, because you know who running these kinds of programs. I'm trying to be very careful with the conversation in terms of this. I understand we could go heavy with it, but I won't be conservative and reserve in my thoughts on this video.
No, you're right. Unfortunately, but that also speaks to a lot of what's being said in the video. Unfortunately, you have to be careful how you talk about these small hats. You understand? But I read Mein Kampf as well, and you're right. And I understood that guy Hitler's. I understood his anger, because how it look, you have a population within your nation who doesn't have any allegiance to the nation, who thinks of themselves as the chosen people within your nation, who you can't commingle with them, right? If you wanted to marry one of their daughters, you couldn't do it. Meanwhile, like the guy said in the thing, because that was mentioned in Mein Kampf as well, you go to buy a loaf of bread and you have to wonder why the bread's so damn expensive, because these guys have an interest scheme going on where they are getting a cut of everything, and they get a cut of both sides, by the way. In any interaction that they're involved in, they get a cut of both sides. They'll tell you that today. right here in Brooklyn. I'm around a lot of them in Brooklyn. They'll tell you that all day. Any deal that goes down, they get a piece from both sides. So it's a kind of a greedy group who's like selfish, and I'm just being real about it. Even
greedy or smart? Greedy or smart, Koku? Greedy or smart?
Both. Because if you could get away with it, well, go ahead. But then that leads into the grifter problem that we have in Black society too, right? Where their greed is smart, but is a grift at the same time. So you know, if I'm a leader of a nation and you have this group that's pulling themselves away, but yet you want to benefit from the nation, right? But you want to pull yourself away and only your people could thrive within it. Now I have a problem with that. I appreciated that dude's nationalism. I think he went a little too far with the ovens and all that old shit. But he was backed by some of the same people that was going in the ovens. You know what I mean?
Well, if what you say is true, that means FBA is right. because we as Gaviites, we as nationalists, we believe that we should practice internal business with one another. How we do business with other people, that's on the arm. But how we want to practice business with one another, we believe in collectivism in terms of money, in terms of business, buy, block, all that kind of business there. FBA say, man, listen, man, we need to integrate with the greater society. So if we follow that line of logic, that means the nationalists like me and you and Brother Bakari, we need to go.
No, but the difference is we are Pan-African nationalists. You see what I'm saying? So we still believe in the sharing of resources, etc., amongst people of African descent around the world. You know what I mean? So I come to, like, just today, I was just in a Black American restaurant. I bought some food to bring home here before I do shoot the breeze. Like, I believe in spending my money with Black folks, not just Caribbean, not just African, but all of them, right? So that's the difference.
So do they, Koku? They believe in doing business with Jews inside of America and Jews in Israel and wherever Jews are. So do they. They believe in pan-Israelianism.
Right. But what I'm saying is, I don't sit up and I don't sit up and claim other and remove myself and my dollars and etc. from the other African groups, subgroups out there. I claim all of it. You know what I mean? My biggest issue is I don't really pump my fist for the U.S. And that's where the FBA and I are at odds. They're pumping their fist, they're jingoists for the U.S. I'm not a jingoist for the U.S.
Yes, but you making my point because just as you are nationalistic in terms of dealing with Black people from all around the world, they are as well. They don't pump, and that was Hitler's gripe. That's Hitler's gripe. Because Hitler's gripe was, how is it that you want to be insular in our society, the society that we created, and you ain't helping, you ain't affecting, you ain't doing nothing to further our cause. You ain't pumping your fist for Germany, but you benefiting from Germany. You are what they consider a parasite to my society. Therefore, I need to expel you out of here, or I need to get rid of you and them others over there. That was his gripe.
Yeah, and so that, to me, Buana, if I'm to be honest with you, that should be the white man's gripe with me, because this is his nation.
And it is his gripe with you. It is his gripe with you.
Right. Not the African who was enslaved here and treated as a second-class citizen here, like I am a second-class citizen here as well. You shouldn't have that gripe with me. That's the issue I have. You shouldn't have that gripe with me. Your gripe should be my gripe, which is against this man who gets to determine our shared reality. I think that's the difference, Buana. Let me bring in Brother Bakari this week. Brother Bakari, how are you?
I'm great, man. What's going on?
Good. Good to see you here. Do you have any thoughts on this?
The only thing I can say is, as y'all, I don't know, Okay, I try to censor myself on other people's channel, but the people you was talking about from Israel, is that how I got to say it? But anyway, they practice pan.
Small hats.
They practice pan-Europeanism too. That was one of them that called and said white folk. He didn't say God, he didn't say small hats. Because I'm gonna be honest, it's difficult for me because ain't nobody ever told to stop disrespecting black folks like this. So I'd be like, to hell with them. That's probably why I'm not in algorithm. But anyway,
yeah, I feel you on that. I feel you on that, Bakari. But we're in a situation where these guys, like the video was saying, these guys have that ability. They run the media, et cetera, et cetera. But go ahead.
But he said white folk get the hell away from black people, right? They practice pan-Europeanism. Hitler was a Jew. I tell people, look that up. If people looked at history, Hitler was an Austrian Jew. He wasn't even German. He was from Austria. He was an Austrian. I'm sorry. He was an Austrian small hat. My bad. But that was them fighting one another. Even when you look up and you find up the Lithuanian small hats, that's who was volunteering to put them in the ovens. It wasn't the other white people that was actually volunteering because they were screwing over some of their own people. I heard Bawana ask, was it greed or smart? I would say it's both. It's greed and smart. I'm going to be honest. Am I upset with them because they found their niche and want to block other people out of it? No, that's what we should want to do. But we give it away. That's what we should want to do. People still mad with this young lady, and I played her video the other day. Mad with her for calling them outsiders because they was agreeing with Deion Sanders for saying they was agreeing that Jackson State band should want to go help Colorado. Oh, that's nobody's fault that we choose to give our culture away. Everything we have, we give it away for pennies. So if someone found a niche and this is ours, so we gonna block it and we gonna control it to make sure if somebody else use it, we still get something out of it. I'm not mad. I'm not upset with them for that. I don't believe in the conspiracy that those people run the whole world. I believe white people work together. Those people know they're white. It's just a different white tribe. That's all it is. It's just a different white tribe. We tend to celebrate them. But that white boy, Scott Adams, when he did that roll call, he didn't roll call. He didn't say small hats, get the fuck away from black folks. He said white people. White people. I want y'all to, whoever think they're different, I want that to stick in their head. They said white people. White people, get the fuck away from black people. That's what he said. Those folk work together. Because anything that the small hats, anything that those people is anything that they're making money off, you don't think Donald Trump then was making money off it? You don't think other white people was making money off it? Even down to damn the Chinamans. We just not, because everybody has blocked us out. And since everyone has blocked us out, we tend to say it's one, that's their niche. According to the great Dr. John Henry Clark, then when you look up certain things, people, but look what they did in the entertainment business, how they control that. Okay, we gave it to them in a sense, but of course they've been writing plays. Studies. See, who's been writing the plays for the longest, for a very long time for everybody. That's who was doing it. They've been controlling jury and doing certain things. So, because it's 500 years later, are they supposed to share what they have? I'm more mad with us for not understanding that we should be blocking out what we have. But we are too busy hating on one another to try to, we got to make sure if it's anything that a black person, don't care what it is, whether they are, even if they're not scamming or hustling from you. Our goal, especially here on social media, and I ain't just saying, I ain't talking about us here. I ain't talking about us three on this panel or nobody in the chat. But if you look at most of the videos in YouTube, the one that an algorithm, what they are going to be able to make money from it. What are they talking about? Who are they talking about? We are talking about us. So am I mad with those people? Am I mad with European people for saying they don't stick together? In the process of them fighting each other, they know how to stop fighting each other and make it work. Am I upset with well, we just talking about the Europeans? But every other group do it. Every other group do it to benefit their race. We tend to separate them. They don't separate themselves like that. They'll separate and say they're Jew. But other than that, they know they are still white. That's why they all work together. Why do you think the United States is so quick to give Israel billions of dollars? It's not because they run America or run the world. It's because that's them sticking together. Why do you think when some South Africans, when some South Africans kill some Boers and some Afrikaners over there, and they was talking about revolution and what they're gonna do? Why do you think those people from Israel were so quick to reach out to the Boers, Afrikaners over there in South Africa with weapons and send mercenaries and say, we're gonna give y'all military training to help y'all destroy them? These people stick together, but we tend to separate them. And the problem, I'm gonna say this, then I'm gonna finish. But the problem I have, even with the guy that started calling them small hats, who everybody got that from, Irritated Genie, the problem that I have with that, now we got people that tend to think a white nationalist is going to work with you against those people. It's not going to happen. Those people are race first, and it don't bother me at all. On there, I hear Mike.
Bakari, I appreciate everything you had to say. I'll echo this too. I try not to separate these folks. Like you give the examples of their assistance to the Afrikaners and all that stuff. To me, they're all the same friggin' people. That little thing that happened in around 1945, that's an internal conflict. I really don't care about it, to be honest. But I do recognize that they have carved out a space for themselves, and they have created a system where you can't really call them out on it. And because of that, that's why Irritated Genie and us here have to use the term small hats, because they do control spaces like this, like these platforms, right? They have amassed some power, and I commend them on that too. I commend them on that. But at the end of the day, they're just another group of white folks, as far as I'm concerned. Buana or Bakari, you guys have any last words you want to add?
No, I'm good. I appreciate Brother Bakari's thoughts.
Yes, sir.
You know, my thing is they have something that they control. We had things that we control. We gave it away.
Yeah.
We gave it away. We chose, because people love, for some strange reason, people act like hip hop is the greatest thing that ever happened to black people, to Africans in this country. But so I'm going to say hip hop. We gave hip hop away. We gave it to them. We made sure in our music, once we gave it to them and allowed them to control it, we made sure that it become degenerate to satisfy them, so they could finance our destruction. And we turn and we get upset with them. I'm not saying they have never done anything that you can't be or shouldn't be upset with. But what I am saying is, we don't have to give them everything. Everything we touch don't have to be considered old. We don't deal with us the way that we should deal with us. When was the last time you saw somebody wear some Carl Kanai jeans? When was the last time you saw heard somebody mention cross colors? When was the last time you heard somebody mention FUBU? We can't get mad with them because we will throw our stuff in the trash and say it's old. Then a generation want to say, oh, this is the old people. No, it's not, it's y'all. But people still wearing Levi's, which was created in 1853. They still bragging on Louis Vuitton, which was created in 1854. You can go back and see when Gucci. They still bragging on, ooh, I got Nikes, or ooh, I'm wearing Adidas or Puma that was created during the Olympics in which Jesse Owens ran. We stopped dealing with us. So no, I'm just being honest. I am not mad with them for saying this is ours and I'm going to control it.
Appreciate that, Bakari. In the chat, Marcus McGee says greed leads to imbalance. I agree with that 100%. Greed, especially when you're talking nationhood and whatnot. Marcus Garvey is the way is here with us tonight. She says good night. Good night to you, Marcus Garvey is the way. That was a good conversation, fellas.
One last thing. We gave away the blues. You know what I mean? I think that was one of the first musical genres when these guys, the small hats, entered that industry, and they started signing these life-term contracts with our best blues artists coming out of Mississippi, the Mississippi Delta. So we started that tradition from back in the day.
Yep. Yeah, they positioned themselves properly. They got the blues, and if you know your music lineage stuff, that the blues is what spawns all this R&B and all this other stuff that's come since. And they got their hands on jazz. People sleep on that jazz thing. Someone want to say something? Go ahead, and then I'll talk about jazz for a second.
Okay, watch this. And one more thing, right? We complain about blackface and what happened, how they did blackface a long time ago. Y'all remember that movie Tropical Thunder?
Absolutely, yes.
How many black people say they really like that movie? Robert Downey Jr. didn't portray black people bad. See, and that's what I'm talking about. It's not their fault. It's not their fault that we'll accept that shit. That we figure out a way to make that be okay. Well, somebody can dress in blackface, try to be you, and we think it's okay. It's just a movie. No, it's insulting you.
Yes.
And the crazy,
go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish.
No, I was just repeating myself. It's not their fault that we accept that. It is not their fault that we accepted that. And I'm quite sure it's some more blackface stuff. It's not nobody's fault that Gucci made that stuff blackface and then we go get in line at the Gucci store later. It's not H&M fault. I don't know who owned it, where they can put a black kid on a shirt and call him a monkey, and we still go to H&M and shop. We can blame who we want to blame, but eventually we got to look in the mirror. Go ahead, Bawana.
The game is so messed up. Let me tell you how messed up the game is. The game is so messed up where we have groups saying that these Africans and Caribbeans coming to the United States and taking African American roles. When you have this Jewish guy in blackface acting as a Black American character, and you hear nothing about it.
I just want to add.
And they will get mad at you if you say something about it.
Right. I just want to quickly add. I was talking about jazz earlier. You know, we let these people take that too. I saw someone talk about this recently. How you go to a jazz concert and maybe 5% of the people there are black, and that's our shit. That's our classical music. But we just let that go, man. We let that go. We vacated it. And they have run of that stuff now, man. We got to stop doing that stuff. Gassed them up in the chat says Hitler did not eradicate interest rates. Stop this 125th fresh out of jail scholarship. So welcome back. Gas them up to the chat, I guess. Anyone else wants to add any last words here?
No, I'm good, man. I'm good. That was good. That was a good dialogue.
Let's go to Shoot the Breeze topic number 3 then.